I have people who are like, oh, in 6 to 9 months, Mike, that I want to hire somebody. Or, I want to hire somebody down the road. And my approach is always, okay, well, if you could hire that person today, what would that role look like? Because often I have wage subsidies that kick your payment of it 6 to 9 months down the road. So you could get somebody in there helping your business today, while only covering a portion of the cost for 6 to 9 months.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Mike. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. It's a great pleasure to finally connect and do this interview that we've been talking about for some time.
Nice. So give everybody a highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
So I work with a company called Lifemark, and most of you will know that as a physio clinic. But actually, we have a contract with the Alberta government with the mandate to help reduce the unemployment rate in Alberta. So there's two different arms. So that one is the employee side. So I have a team of people who work with people who are on COVID relief assistance, and then we help them top up their job skills, help them with resume writing, make sure that they're ready, willing, and able to hit the workforce. But more importantly, I work on the employer side. So I come in and help with all sorts of HR policies, procedures, screening candidates, can take a bunch of labor hours away for your business. And we look at grants and funding to help fund. We have access to different wage subsidies, all to help grow your business. So that way, in hopes that you can hire more people in the long run. So our process is all designed to find the right people so that you can grow. And all of it is covered by your ever increasing tax dollars.
Awesome. So we will get into the details of that in a second, but let's back up the bus a little bit. How did you get involved with this kind of business in the first place?
I actually just really stumbled into it. So I had a business in 2020 that I lost during the pandemic. It was a tourism business, and kind of just looking for what's next. And while I was trying to figure things out, I stumbled into this where I could then help the entrepreneurs that were so helpful with my tourism business at the time. So for me, it was a win-win.
Nice. I love it. So let's get into the details of what you do and kind of who's your ideal clientele? Who do you work with the most?
So we work with companies, big or small, with the hopes that we can grow the whole pie in order to reduce the unemployment rate. Typically, there's a ton of programs out there just to help the individual employees. But the nice thing about ours is that we come at it from obviously two different areas. And my main focus is the employers, because they are the most important piece in hiring anybody. So if we want to solve the problem, how do we make it easier for people to hire through different wage subsidies and grants and funding, and finding those resources, or just maybe you need some extra support here and there.
So basically anybody can come to you and say, hey, what do you do and how can you help me?
That's right. Anybody. Yeah. And then we can come up with a customized plan depending on what your needs are, and just start troubleshooting and taking some things off your plate.
Nice. So when it comes to kind of finding a good fit for you and for the employer, I guess, and the employee, should the employer have some kind of idea of what they have going on? Or is it just, hey, here's a snapshot of our business. How can we streamline this? How can we make it more effective and efficient and? Or do they usually have some idea of what's going on when they come to you?
So it comes in all sorts of different ways. Some people have no idea what's going on. And they just, like, well, where do we start? How do I go about doing this? So it varies a lot between who's coming. So if you need help making a plan, we can certainly do that. I have people who are like, oh, in 6 to 9 months, Mike, that I want to hire somebody. Or, I want to hire somebody down the road. And my approach is always, okay, well, if you could hire that person today, what would that role look like? Because often I have wage subsidies that kick your payment of it 6 to 9 months down the road. So you could get somebody in there helping your business today, while only covering a portion of the cost for 6 to 9 months.
Nice. I was waiting for ANDA.
No.
I thought I heard ANDA in there. Like, you can do that. You can plan out 6 months ahead of time, or most of them come to me like, "Hey, I need help yesterday."
They do, yes. And I mean, unfortunately, in HR, the process is it is what it is. Right? We have to go through a process of screening to find the right candidate. So the best time to come is when you're thinking about doing this stuff, because then we can troubleshoot it in advance. But if you're coming, then your hair's on fire, that's okay too. We'll do what we can to expedite the process to help out. But obviously, time in the HR department is a benefit.
Nice. So who would you say right now is like kind of, can you give us a snapshot of the market right now in Alberta? What's going on? Who's growing? Who's falling by the wayside? who's history? Any details in that arena?
Yeah, unfortunately, we see a lot of small businesses kind of falling to the wayside right now. Just with the way the pandemic kind of hit and now crawling out of it, resources seem to be centralized in bigger organizations. And my passion has always been in small business. So it's really focusing on how to help businesses kind of bring, just
Okay.
reevaluate kind of how businesses operate,
Mhm.
and just by giving them extra resources available to make these decisions.
Right. So you mentioned wage subsidies, and then my understanding of most of them is particularly students, particularly once they've been with you for a little while, then there's potential of getting subsidized on those wages. Are there any other ones that kind of come to mind that have been particularly useful for people?
Well, with the Alberta government, there's all sorts of new grants and funding coming out, and we're constantly bidding on new projects. So for the wage subsidy, the most steady one that we have available is through WCB. So these people are trained in a certain field and have gone off on injury or whatever the case is and need to find a new career. And in that process, WCB will cover a portion of the wage. And then they'll also help pay for any sort of additional training that this individual needs. And it actually works out both for all three parties. So the individual's getting a job. WCB is, because typically when you go off on WCB, they're paying your wage, full amount. And so their WCB is getting them fully off their payroll. And businesses, because everybody nowadays has to pay, not everybody, but just about everybody has to pay into WCB. The more people who take advantage of the service will obviously, the cost will go up for everybody.
Nice. And for those who are listening that don't know what WCB is Workers' Compensation Board, and just give us the 5,000-foot view of who they are and what they do.
Yes. So WCB, often anytime you have employees, as of recently, the government has mandated, or the last NDP government in Alberta has mandated, that most employers have to pay into WCB. There's very few exceptions anymore. So any employee that you hire, you have to pay to have them covered through your insurance.
And it's basically just for injuries on site and other fun stuff like that. Other safety issues that are predominant in Alberta. That's what happens when you wear shorts in the middle of winter. What can I say? I'm kidding. I don't need the safety guys getting after me for that one. So when it comes to kind of your grants, things like that, is there anything that somebody listening could do to prepare their business to be able to work with you and kind of get their ducks in a row ahead of time?
So if you have a plan, it's a big help. It just helps speed up our process. I can always sit down with you and help you make a plan. That's no issue. But if you have a plan, you have a direction, it's your business, you should be running the helm. So that just helps us get a direction, and then I can get running on it sooner rather than later for you. So have a plan of how many people you're planning on hiring, roughly when, and then just an idea of what you want these people to do, because I can even make the job posting for you to make your life easier, unless you already have one, of course.
Very cool. So any other questions I should be asking you before we get into kind of the fun stuff? I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story and all sorts of weird questions for you. Anything else that you want to make sure that we know about?
Um, I think the program overall for business is an incredible program, and this program is only unique to Alberta. There are other provinces who are trying similar things, but they're not providing the support that Alberta is for its businesses. So you can, I guess, be slightly thankful that your tax dollars are going towards something helpful.
Awesome. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you about a Cinderella story, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.
So I'm super excited. Give us a story about a Cinderella story of one of your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had this one client who was really looking for someone very specific. So she was a small operation, and did consulting for other companies and was really good at it, but she needed obviously support. She was getting on so many clients that she needed on support, but her laundry list of things that she was looking for what I call it, a shopping list for a qualified candidate, was quite long. And even I had a couple doubts. I'm like, we have to be careful on what we're looking for, because it's great that you're selective. However, when you're this selective, you run the case of looking for too many hard skills and not enough of the motivated individual who will grow into the role a little bit. And so what we did, we came up with a strategy to get kind of the best of both worlds. And we advertised on Indeed. We've screened hundreds of resumes, narrowed it down to about 3 people. Those 3 people didn't work out. We did do another round of that, another hundreds of resumes, screened through them, found 2 people, and one of the 2 people actually worked out well, and they're still with the company today. And she is absolutely in love with the person, which is great. That's our goal. And then hopefully with that person, she can leverage that to grow into another individual.
Nice. Well, I know one of the biggest issues is people don't know that there are opportunities out there for particular grants that happen. Some of them are continuing and some of them are sporadic, I assume.
Yes. Yeah. So every so often the government will release a new set of grants and funding, but then you can also, if there's a glaring problem that you see that your business can help solve, you can actually make a bid into the Alberta government to make basically a pitch to why they should fund some of your services and some of the operational costs on them.
Nice. Okay, now you just piqued everybody's interest. So I know people are going to want more from you. How did they start their journey with you?
Yeah, so you can actually reach out to me at mike.mammel. That's obviously Mike, and then .mammel, MAMMEL, at lifemark.ca, or give me a call and we'll see what we can do for you. Phone number is 403-464-7411. Call me anytime. I'm usually up doing something. So
you're a brave man putting your phone number out on the internet. We will, of course, have all of Mike's links in the show notes. So go ahead and scroll down, open up in a new browser because we're not done yet. So Mike, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know you're special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Sorry, can you repeat that question for me?
Yeah, absolutely. At what point in life did you know you were especially kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I still wonder what makes me an entrepreneur to today. However,
It's like, I don't know. I don't know if I've really got the goat anymore on that one. You do
I-
so. Anybody that ran a travel agency is, you got the entrepreneurial something in there, and you got a love for entrepreneurs. So it had to have
yes.
started at some point.
No, for me, it's always been one, the challenge, and two, it's the opportunity to kind of give back to the community. And it's all self-directed. You rise and you fall with your own merits, and I love that kind of system.
I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in and listening. And Michelle's been a great host, so don't forget to keep subscribing to her stuff and help her grow so she can hire more people.
Exactly. Hey, I did want to ask you about, I almost forgot. You have a special kids program going on, yes?
I do, yes.
Tell us about that.
I'm also running a kids entrepreneur camp, which is designed to, my main goal is to help reduce some of the entitlement that's out there by lifting up the sheet, I guess, the proverbial sheet of how businesses work, how they operate, and we work on soft skills like discipline, honesty, manners, work ethic, goal setting, gratitude. All of the skills that I view are lacking in today's school, even with my kids some days, and teaching them how to do a business and how to stand on their own 2 feet, because the amount of debt that's coming down the line for somebody, they gotta learn how to make money.
Right. Well, and I think that's one of the biggest things that people look at the entrepreneurial journey and go, I don't know, it looks a little sketchy, looks a little risky. Are we going to actually make money at this? And to me, that one, figuring out who you are and what you're made of and what you're capable of doing can only really be realized through the entrepreneurial journey. And when it comes to being able to truly create wealth, the entrepreneurial journey is one of the only ways to do that. And I think if you at least teach your kids how to do it, then they know that there's always an option and that they always have the ability to be able to create something that doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think empowering them to be able to create some of their own ambitions, from what I can tell from the research I've done, the school system was designed to create good employees, unfortunately. And so that's sort of run its course in my view. And so how do we empower these people then to make these decisions for themselves and to not be afraid to take those risks and to put yourself out there so that, the world's going to criticize you, but there's always a good side and there's always another opportunity down the road. And only an entrepreneur sees the world like that.
I love it. You've been absolutely awesome. Thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.